So RS released a video today, and basically this was Rob going through the building of the shell for the Boushh.
That was
Basically,
cool. Yeah.
taking the two halves, putting them together, and then cutting out all the pieces and
Mm-hmm.
gluing all the pieces onto it. Um, pretty impressive stuff. It was basically, this video is basically like a music video, a 14-minute music video of basically Boushh porn the whole time. With every once in a while they would cut in, Rob would talk for a minute, and then it would go right back to pictures of it.
Yeah, it was cool. I enjoyed watching this actually.
Yeah, I did too. I usually don't put the RS videos on right away when they get posted, but this one popped up and I was like, oh, I enjoyed watching this.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a freaking beautiful helmet, man. I tell you what, it's.
I am. Look, I mean, I say this with love to the RS guys. I'm amazed by how quickly this is going.
Yeah,
it's moving so quick, and it's like, well, we might get this year, which would be
yeah. I think
fantastic.
So. I think so.
I
think they're pretty determined to get things moved, to get this sucker out.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see these in hand by October, November.
Well, I think honestly, I think one of the good things for everybody that ordered this, is that they've gone through trials and tribulations of other products that have taken longer, and they've had a lot of they had the whole Y-wing situation where it took a really long time to get done, and so I think they know they don't want that same thing to happen, so they've kind of have gotten to the point where they're they just know how they want to do this.
Yeah.
They're probably sick of answering the question, when is this happening? Like, when are people getting their Boba Fett? When are people getting their Y-wing? They're sick of hearing that, I'm sure.
Well, and Jason mentioned a while ago that they're trying to take cues out of some of the other companies that like a Regal robot, let's say, that stops down everything and just goes, okay, we're all working on this, and then we're gonna go, you know what I mean? Like, like they're taking some of those, I think, cues and trying to get their process to be a little bit more efficient and better and stuff, and it's just great. I mean,
one of the things I noticed in the build was the dent, the not really a dent / battle damage that's on the top of the helmet is not sculpted in. Is that something that they're gonna? That obviously it's going to be something they're going to add later on. Do you guys know? Do you guys know how they add that on later?
No, I don't know what. Is it gouged in, or is it? It's not part of the mold. Right.
You would think it would be kind of hard to, because that's pretty thin material. You would think that they would just blow right through it. But
how deep is the gouge? I don't think it's that deep.
It's a decent gouge. Thicker than the plastic.
Is it?
But so there's gonna be for anybody that ordered the Snow Trooper Commando maquette and got that little booklet of sort of history and backstory on it. So with the Boushh, you're going to get something similar, and it'll be some of that info will be described in there. So I don't want to spill anything too early on, for RS's sake, but that's a great question, Stephen. Some of those little details, some of those little fun little nuances and details will be added in there for people to sort of just get a little history and backstory of the helmet. It
strikes me, Jason, that the way, not knowing anything about how these helmets are really made, right? The way I try to go about it is to make some sort of iron, right? That's shaped like that, and try to melt it into the plastic or something like that. Or because if it's not molded into it, that's the only way I can think of doing it without blowing through it.
That makes sense. Make that indentation, like a stamp almost into it.
Yeah, like a stamp. Yeah, like a hot iron, right, or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. Really curious to see how they do that when they finally get there. I was surprised not to see it in the helmet when he was making it.
One thing I don't want to go off topic here, but with everything surrounding this, I was waiting for somebody this afternoon to say, after seeing this video, I was waiting for some chucklehead to put up a comment and say, "Oh, $2,000 for styrene,"
Yeah.
because of what you're seeing. You're only seeing this process. You're not seeing the leather work. You're not seeing the electronics. You're not seeing all the further processes that involved. But I'm glad
I tell you, there's a lot of work here. There's, he said a few hours into it. We've watched enough of his videos where they're working on the other ones to know that there's a hell of a lot more work in what he's doing right now. And he even said, I found one of his comments to be really interesting. He said, "This helmet is the most model-like out of all the helmets," which was very true. Like he's cutting all these individual pieces and building them up. That it does look quite a bit like a model, right? Like how they put them together. So it's pretty clear there's a lot of labor going into this.
Yeah, he didn't build it in 14 minutes like the video time is.
No, not at all.
No, but it's interesting when he was talking about how, like, when they built this thing, they just put it together. Like, they just took pieces and put it together, and like they weren't trying to be he's having to be accurate to what they did.
Yeah.
Versus they were just kind of like putting things on there and making it look like it does, making it work. They weren't going off of anything. So like, it's almost like for him, it's got to be extremely hard to try to replicate something exactly.
No, it is.
Versus just making something.
Mm-hmm.
Just I'm trying to scratch build something, and I was telling Jason the other day, I look at 4 or 5 different pictures of 4 or 5 different angles just to make sure I'm not more than, if I'm looking at 1/8 of an inch, I'm not too far away from it. I'm looking at so many different pictures just to get, exactly how I want it to be and not be wrong,
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Chris, even the conversation we had too, like with the Y-wing, for example, right? It's almost easier when you see the piping and the tubing. It's almost easier to make clean 90-degree bends, 45-degree angle bends than it is to make ones that are all wonky and janky and all over the place. So with this Boushh helmet, where there's so much asymmetry, and they have to replicate that as spot on and as accurate as they can, it's more complex. It's like trying to copy a child's drawing, right? You may think in your mind like, oh, that's super simple. I can do that, right? But then you try it, and it's you almost do it too neat or too clean. It's more difficult and more complex to copy something that's messy or flawed sometimes. And this is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Great to see regular progress on this, and I'm really looking forward to getting it here. And folks, check your emails. Second payment request went out today, so you should have gotten that. So very good. Moving on to the next thing.
Can I ask? So the payments that are, it's like an email update, or is it automated? How is it working?
You get an invoice. No, you get a email that invites you to a link on their page, and you go to that link, and then you add the payment to your cart.
So it's not like a set it and forget it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
No. Yeah. All right. Next up.
So that means check your spam folders as well.
Well, if emails from Andrew are going to your spam box, you better fix that right away.
You gotta fix that.